Hi everyone, welcome back to our breathwork and meditation series. This is class number 2, so if you are just joining us for the first time, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to share these practices with you. And please go check out class number 1. In class number 1, we focused on finding a proper seating foundation or sitting foundation. We talked about kind of the mechanics of how we open up the diaphragm. And we began to work with deepening the breath. So we're going to build on that today. And if you're joining us again from class 1, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you here. So just to briefly review, there's a few ways that we can sit when we're going to do a breathwork practice. So one of them is how I'm sitting now in a cross-legged position, and I'm up on a blanket. So again, I just have a yoga blanket. It's folded in half and then in quarters. I fold it again. And then I fold it one more time. So it's up pretty high. You can see the thickness here. And I'm going to place that right behind me and just sit my sit bones on that. So this tends to work pretty well for me if I'm doing not too long of a breath practice. Sometimes I can find that it kind of cuts off some circulation right where it drops off of the blanket. So I need to do it a little bit lower. So just finding the folds that works best in your body. And with foot position, you might have them down like this in Sukhasana. Another way to do it is just to cross the legs like this. And honestly, if you have knee pain, you can take the legs out like this. Whatever's going to be the least distracting for you. Because once we find our seat, we don't want to be moving around much. The point is to draw the energy and the awareness inward. So you can keep the legs extended out. You can place some blocks or books or pillows underneath the knees if you feel like they could use it. Alternatively, you could just sit in a chair and make sure that your feet can plant on the ground. That's perfectly fine. And also, if that's not accessible, you can also lie in bed or lie down somewhere on the floor, for example. If you do lie on the floor, I would have you roll onto your back and take the feet a little wider than hip width and let the knees knock together. Here you'll really be able to decipher the difference between a breath that's filling up the chest and a breath that's filling up the low belly. So you'll really begin to feel that movement. So just choosing your seat for today. And then we'll just take a moment to settle in. So grounding into the sit bones, letting the bottom half of the body get nice and heavy, especially if you're sitting down. And if you're lying down, allowing the back body, everything that's touching the surface beneath you, to get nice and heavy. And from this rootedness, begin to lengthen through the spine. Gently draw the shoulders down the back. Tipping the chin ever so slightly toward the chest. So it's not a big movement. It's just a gentle, subtle, energetic tip down. So the crown of the head is straight up toward the ceiling. The hands can rest on the lap in any way that feels comfortable. So the palms can be down or they can face up. You can clasp the hands together and let them sit on the feet or on the belly. Perhaps you have one hand over the heart space and one hand on the low belly. So just choosing what feels good in your body today and then sticking with it, not changing it up. And settling into our seat now, bringing the awareness to the breath. So just becoming aware of the inhale and aware of the exhale. Not changing it at all, just noticing it. Becoming a curious observer and explorer of the breath. So maybe you notice that the inhale feels really short on one cycle of breath and then long on the next. Maybe you ran to this class and you're noticing the breath is kind of huffing and puffing, calming down. Just noticing the many shapes and flavors and colors that the breath can come in. as the body settles, begin to notice how the breath naturally begins to deepen. Watching the inhale, watching the exhale. If you find that the mind is very busy, very active, very loud, you can mentally note to yourself on the inhale, breathing in, and exhale, breathing out. You give the mind a task so that it's not running rampant. And alternatively, if you find that your mind is a little heavy and dull today, and maybe you feel drowsy, just gently open the eyes just a crack and look down so the eyes aren't fully closed. And now see if you can begin to expand the breath into the low belly. So inhaling, chest, ribs, low belly. Exhaling, low belly, ribs, chest. Inhaling, chest expands, ribs expand, low belly expands. And exhaling, low belly draws in, ribs draw in, chest draws in. Just watching the breath in this way for a couple of rounds. As you continue to deepen the breath, we're going to introduce a new technique. It's called 5-5 breathing. And it's just to introduce the concept of counting, which can do a couple of things for us. It can help deepen the breath. It can help even the inhale and the exhale. And it also gives the mind something to do. So if you find that the mind is especially busy and loud, this can be a helpful technique to come to. So we're going to inhale for a count of 5, and we'll exhale for a count of 5. Feel free to speed up your 5 or slow them down. Feel free to change the number. If you find that you naturally go to 3, and then exhale for 3, perfect. If you find you naturally breathe to 7, and exhale to 7, great. 5 is just a starting point. So inhaling here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And continuing at your own pace with your own counting for a couple of cycles. Now releasing counting, releasing the watching of the breath, and simply sitting in the residue of your practice. Noticing how the body feels, noticing how the mind feels, noticing what sensations might be present. Perhaps you feel a buzzing, tingling sensation, and that is actually the prana, or the life force, circulating through your body. And that is the energy we work with when we work with the breath. I'm taking a moment now to drop into the heart with deep gratitude for the way in which you showed up for yourself just now. For the small but also monumental practice of breathing. Thank you so much for joining me for class number 2. Class number 3 will be coming soon, and I can't wait to share that with you.